Is the market going to crash? This is the question that's on everyone's mind. I'm going to cover it here in this video and give you the roadmap that you need to make money over the next 6 to 12 months. So just with a quick synopsis of what happened over the last several years, we had the COVID crash, then we had this massive rally to the upside with zero interest rates and the Fed printing a bunch of money. Once they started raising rates again, you had this long drawn out bear market type move to the downside. Then there was AI and all the stocks started rallying to the upside, and then eventually everything started participating. It was risk on, and we moved to the upside once we hit our terminal rate of 5.5%. Now the Fed is in another stage here where they're actually going to start cutting rates, and you know, I think contrary to most people's belief that once they actually start cutting rates, the overall economy is going to continue downwards because it takes time. It's a lagging indicator. It takes time for all these changes to filter through the economy before people start spending money again. So I do think that we're going to have a deflationary period unless the Fed starts to aggressively lower rates or print money. If that happens, then obviously it's a signal to get back into stocks. But right now, I'd be very cautious over the next 6 months. I do think that we're going to find a top somewhere here in the S&P 500, and that goes for pretty much any stocks that you would be thinking of buying. Individual stocks are highly correlated to the overall market and indexes. So I do think that we will find a top likely after the election. I think September is going to be a bumpy month as it is historically. You can see here, seasonality wise, September is 13.5% in the red on the month. And here's a good chart where you can see that usually in the second half of the month, there's a move to the downside. Just seasonality. This is over the last 20 years of market price data on S&P 500. So I do think, this will be a bumpy area here, but ultimately there will be a larger move to the downside. How low it goes, it really depends on a bunch of different factors and ultimately what the Fed decides. But this is going to bring a ton of opportunity for you to start buying up a bunch of stocks selling at a discount. Like Alibaba, for instance, I've talked about this in recent videos. I think it's a great stock to buy. It's been trading at this support level for a very long period of time. Actually, even when it IPO'd back in 2015, it's trading for the same price. However, if you look at its financials, you can look here at the income statement. You can see this blue bar is revenue. We can switch this to annual. And from 2017 to 2023, you can see that revenue went from 38 billion all the way to 131 billion. So almost 4 times as much revenue. And same thing with gross profit. You can see that's continued to increase over time. So the stock is trading at the same price that it was 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and it's 4 times the size. So obviously I think this is a great buy, and it's also going to be listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange soon, which I think will bring a lot of investors into the market to actually buy Alibaba. So there's going to be a lot more, I think, with Palantir. This is more of like a risk high beta stock. This is a long game. If you're looking to invest in government AI defense software, I think that this is a great company. It's still in an early stage. It's hard to determine where this is going to trade, but I do liken it to Tesla's rise as an EV manufacturer. Tesla's been like this stock that shows up in social media a lot, and I think Palantir, even the name itself, it's just people like to buy these types of stocks like Nikola Tesla, Palantir, obviously if you watch Lord of the Rings, but I do think that this is like a great buy for the long term. It will likely correct at some point. I don't know if it will go this low, but I do think if you're dollar cost averaging into a stock like Palantir, if you want to bet on AI, I think it's one of the better stocks to buy as opposed to, say, Nvidia, which, as we know, is likely to trend lower. it didn't get the close today after earnings. It dropped, and I think that this is going to trend lower and fill that pattern. Same thing with AMD. A lot of these stocks are already overbought, and I think that there's going to be an AI bubble that we're going to see loosen up over the next 6 months as the Fed starts to cut rates, and I think a recession starts here in the US relatively soon. So, a lot to look out for. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'm just going to keep sending a bunch of videos out with my thoughts on what's going on in the market. Hope you guys subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.